Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about what we need to do or what we can do to get our needs met after a breakup. After the breakup, we talk a lot about moving on, but not nearly enough about what that means, what it means to get your needs met. I just did another episode on breakups, but I wanted to follow up with this one to just lay out some things that people need to turn to for comfort, connection, sex, emotional support when all of those things are gone because we've lost the one person who gave them all to us. You still have those needs. You're still human. And this episode, though it might be a little taboo, is here to help you explore how to meet your needs emotionally, intimately, sexually, without shame, without settling, without losing yourself in the process. I'm Leslie, a trauma-informed therapist, coach, and the host of Pulling Threads. Today, like I said, we're diving deep into the life after the breakup, where loneliness meets, hopefully, empowerment, where desire returns, and where you start choosing you. What I mean by where desire returns is that many times we've lost desire and the desire for intimacy when we were in a relationship that wasn't fulfilling or meeting our needs for whatever reason. So many people find that when they just finished a divorce or they're almost done with their divorce process or when they've recently had a breakup, that their libido seems to have just turned on. And I got news for you. It was never off. It was just that maybe the sex or the relationship wasn't giving you any inspiration. Let's say it that way. So when a relationship ends, we don't just lose a person. We lose a lot of things. We lose maybe daily text, maybe your comfort contact, your go-to for hugs, validation, sex, laughter, sometimes even part of your own identity. This creates what I call a need deprivation. And if you have trauma, that void can feel really terrifying and can even result in something called a primal attack. Like emotional hunger, you don't know how to feed it and you don't know sometimes what's going on. So hear me clearly. Like you are still allowed to have needs and you're still allowed to have the same needs you had during the relationship now that you're out of it, okay? We still need emotional closeness, physical affection, sexual release, play, attention, warmth, all the things that make us human. So the goal after a breakup isn't to erase those needs. It's to resource them in a healthy way, with intention, mindfulness, and sometimes creativity. So let's buckle in and talk about getting your needs met. First, we're going to talk about emotional needs. When we start with emotional needs, we can't forget the main, biggest need, which is to be witnessed and seen and feel heard. You don't need someone to fix the situation, okay? No one can fix your breakup. You really just need someone to see you. And it's okay to say that to your friends. You can call a friend or a therapist and say, can you just listen while I share something hard? A friend of mine and I have learned a healthy way to engage. We ask each other what we want. So if I'm calling her to vent or calling her to talk about something that's going on, something I'm upset about, she'll say, what do you want from me? And I do the same for her. So oftentimes people don't want advice and they don't want to be cheered up and they don't want you to put things in a positive light. They just feel bad and they want someone to listen. So if you're seeking out just to be heard, when you engage with your friend or your family member or whomever is going to comfort you, tell them what you want. It's okay to do that. And it's okay to say it up front. It's not quite as easy saying it after the fact. So this is a good thing to get in the habit of doing. Another thing that I think is extremely powerful and I also use is journaling or even a voice note. You can say what you're feeling. You can say it messy. No one has to read it. You can reread it later, so you're documenting the journey in case at some point you start feeling weak and you may want to call your ex. If you documented how all this feels in your journal and why you are at this point, it's a great thing to look back to. With technology now, we have online journals. I use a journal called Day One, which is in my iPad and my phone, and I can type in it or I can speak to it and it will dictate everything out. It's a great way to get everything out really quickly. Sometimes I even do it in the car. So I can't recommend that enough. But even your Notes app, if you have an iPhone, gives you the ability to do that. And it's just really powerful to get all those emotions and thoughts out so that they're not ruminating in your head. Another way that you can get these emotions out is to create some emotional rituals. I love these. Cry in the shower, write a letter and burn it, scream in your car, let grief move through. I am a Pisces and I love the water and find the water to be really healing. So if I'm feeling extra emotional or when I've suffered any kind of loss, I've always found it really helpful to go do my meditation at the water. And I consider that probably one of the most powerful emotional healing techniques that I do. So whatever it is, just let it move out of your body. Let the emotions move, so we don't want to store them in our bodies. Another great idea that I heard about recently was building a validation vault. So this means you create and collect texts and photos and memories and quotes that all remind you of who you are. Okay, this is just you focused. So when shame creeps in or doubt, or maybe you were gaslit, so you start doubting yourself and what you've done, you could go to the vault and look at your texts and your photos and your memory quotes. It's also a great place to almost create a vision board of who you want to become now that you're moving on. I love vision boards. And I love digital vision boards because where do we keep them? In our phone. So you always have access to it. It's always with you and you can always look, who is the person that I want to be? How do I want to feel? And there's no better place to store something that you want to have at your disposal, always have with you, than in your phone. You're going to still need closeness though, okay? So let's talk about intimacy, and that can be physical intimacy or some other type, but specifically right now I'm talking about physical intimacy. You still need closeness. Just because that person is gone, that need is still there. And it doesn't have to come from a romantic partner. So some ideas, if you're by yourself, you can go get a massage. Believe it or not, that still meets some of those physical touch needs. And I don't mean a weird massage. I just mean a massage. Even using massage with oil and lotion on yourself is really helpful. I love a warm bath, a cozy robe. A weighted blanket is so helpful because oftentimes if we are no longer sleeping with a partner and we want to just feel like someone's there with us, using a weighted blanket is great. Cuddling with your pet is such a good idea. I've got 2 very fuzzy, lovey dogs called teddy bear dogs, and they are wonderful. Something I also heard about recently, I haven't tried this, but I'm throwing it out there because I heard that it's effective and wonderful. It's called body doubling. So it's basically like sitting with someone that you really trust in silence and just sitting next to one another. Just being with them can regulate your nervous system. Make sure you choose someone who's pretty regulated. But nothing is better than being in a room full of people meditating. So I imagine this having kind of the same impact. And don't forget any platonic intimacy that you have with friends, movie nights, even deep eye contact with friends, hugging a friend. Okay, try hugging someone for 30 seconds. It's awkward at first, but it feels so good. Like we all have somebody in our life who's a great hugger. I love doing 30-second hugs with friends. Love it. So if touch is your love language, or even if it's not, touch is a language. And your body still wants to be spoken to with kindness and love and affection. That doesn't go away just because your partner did. So those are ways to meet those needs that are non-sexual, but we also usually have sexual needs and self-pleasure. So let's talk about sex, because yeah, you're still allowed to want it, you're still allowed to need it and think about it, and you're still allowed to feel desire and explore pleasure on your own terms. So why does self-pleasure matter? I want to put a slight disclaimer here first and say I'm not necessarily talking about people who use porn, although there are ethical porn sites that I've heard about that you can use for this. But I'm talking more about self-pleasure, something no one talks about, especially with women, because it really calms the nervous system. And when we're going through breakups, if you listen to my previous video, we talk a lot about what's happening to our nervous system during the trauma of the breakup. Okay? Self-pleasure releases the oxytocin and endorphins that help you really reclaim your body after loss, shame, or abandonment. They also calm the nervous system, and they're the same things that are released when you were having sex with your partner. So you are, in a way, finding a way to serve yourself and pleasure yourself to take up that space. And it's incredibly helpful to get you through that period of time so you don't pick up the phone and call them because you're craving the sex that you had with them. This can really help. And I know it's not a replacement for the person, but it's also just important to know how to pleasure ourselves. We do not talk about this enough. It seems taboo, but why? Like, why? Men do it all the time. We just, as women, don't talk about it. And the truth is, we should. We don't even really, most of us, understand our own anatomy enough to know how to self-pleasure. So you don't need to rush. This isn't even about orgasm. It's about connecting with yourself and showing yourself how much you love yourself. So create a space that feels sacred, light a candle, do your slow breathing, whatever you need, and touch yourself like you're worth knowing, because you are. And if emotions come up, great. There might be grief, tears, memories, let it. Or maybe it's just a huge release. Let your body release whatever it's holding. And when you're done, tell yourself, I'm allowed to feel good. I am mine. I love myself. A couple of resources that I used after my divorce might help, so I'm going to share them. The website, OMGYes.com, is magic. I love it. The site is really dedicated to teaching individuals how to understand their bodies and their sexuality in order to improve their intimacy alone or with partners. And for me, it was extremely eye-opening and gave me so many more ways to enjoy intimacy by myself or with a partner than I could have ever imagined. Goop.com is one of my favorite websites for sexual health stores. They have tons of wonderful toys and other devices, lubricants that you can check out. And I think because they're recommended by Goop, for me, they feel like they're pretty good. You can DM me at the Loom Life on IG if you want recommendations. And then finally, I'm going to say the podcast and website titled Sex with Emily is also amazing. It's a great place to learn all things sexual health. It's fun, it's entertaining. I love Emily. And she also has a really amazing store with lots of toys and other items and just tons and tons of information and education. So love Sex with Emily. She's also on Instagram. I believe she's on YouTube. She's on Apple Podcasts, and her website is great. Her blog is phenomenal. So the next thing is, what if you want to sleep with someone else? What if you want to go have casual sex to fill the void? I would encourage you to ask yourself, am I seeking connection or escape? Am I regulated? You want to be regulated. Or am I just being reactive? And will this empower me no matter how it goes? That's the biggest thing. Is it going to make you feel worse when it's over or better? You're an adult. There's no shame in wanting or having casual sex, but make sure that it's conscious and not compensating for the lost person. Let your desire lead you, but don't let emptiness choose this for you. Do what feels good for you and try to do it without shame. If it's not the right time and you're not ready, that's okay too. Do what feels good for you and nourishing, something that's nourishing, not depleting. Because here's the truth. No one person is going to meet all your needs, okay? But you can meet your own needs in layers, in moments, in beautiful ways. Maybe a friend becomes your laugh partner. A journal becomes your safe space. Your own hand becomes your intimacy. A bath becomes your calm. A playlist becomes your companion. You don't need to replace your ex. You just need to reconnect with you and find all the resources out there that are already in your life to fill the needs that person was meeting. Start off by meeting your needs so well that your next relationship becomes a bonus, not a bandage. I love that. I used to say that my next relationship was going to be the icing on the cake, that I already made the cake and already loved the cake. So getting your needs met after a breakup isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's self-respect. And your needs didn't end when the relationship did. They're still alive. And they still need you to show up. They still matter. Whether it's emotional safety, affection, touch, or sexual connection, your needs are still there. And you still need to and are allowed to name them and want them and seek them out on your own terms. I can promise you that nothing is more empowering than being the person who meets your own needs. So please feel free to DM me and ask me any questions. And if this episode resonated, subscribe, share with someone who's going through a little heartbreak, and tell me in the comments or DMs what you're learning to meet on your own. Like, which needs are you meeting for yourself? If you want more support, you can check links in my bio on Instagram for therapy, coaching, and some upcoming group programs. You're never alone on this path. Thanks for being here. You're not broken. You're just returning to yourself. Thank you.